Hello, it's Kubo. Have you ever seen the front line of a top player in advanced songs? If you haven't, here's an example for elegant attribute. It uses SP fillers with critical sense as front line, but if you try to replicate this yourself, chances are you'll find yourself scoring less than using normal voltage type. Even though the best team in the game uses SP fillers with crit sense, voltage type is still the ones you want to aim for when starting up the game. It seems like crit sense SP fillers are reserved for veterans or whales only. Why? Well, we'll find out the answers in this video. This video caters towards those who want to chase voltage ranking and want to dive deep into SP meta. If you are a casual in this game, this is not the series you want to watch, as you don't need this to clear every content in the game. This is just for voltage ranking only. This is the first video of SP meta series. This series will bring you through how SP meta works, and most importantly, how a free-to-play player should approach SP meta. But in this first video, I will not show you how to apply SP meta yet, just how it works and why it's not for beginners. Here's a heads up. To access SP meta, you need to unlock max limit break because SP fillers don't become good until they are max limit break. That means playing long enough to get about 4 max limit break worth of radiances or 2500 radiances. That's basically the amount you need to max limit break 2 voltage plus scorers and 1 defender, or 3 voltage plus scorers, plus 1 SP filler. I know this sounds very demanding, that's why SP meta is not for everyone. It takes lots of time to get that many radiances, but if you're willing to bear with it, good for you. Even if you don't have the radiances now, you can still learn what SP meta is and prepare yourself for it. With all that said, let's get started. To start off, we already know that the best way to increase your voltage is to raise your appeal. Appeal equals attack power, which equals voltage. High appeal cards are mainly focused by most players, but once your cards reach maximum break, you find yourself constantly hitting the voltage cap of 50,000. Chokers increases the cap, but it's just not comparable to the scores you see in whales. Upon reaching the voltage cap, any extra appeal is limited by the cap and brings minimal extra voltage. How do whales break the cap? There are 2 tap skills in the game that can do so. One is voltage generation with the icon VO+. The other more superior choice is SP fill. The higher effective appeal of voltage type doesn't matter when SP type can hit voltage cap as often after giving enough buffs. SP filler generating more SP is another way to bypass voltage cap, and they do it better than voltage plus. SP fillers generate 9% SP gauge. The skill SP fill is affected by SP merit. Now I assume you hit 250 SP voltage because if you're not hitting it or close to it, you're not gonna use SP meta. So anyway, 9% of 250k SP voltage times another extra 5%, 10% or 15% depending on how many SP type you're using. That's 23,625 voltage to 25,875 voltage per proc. This is without any influence of backliners because no backline can further increase the amount of SP gauge gained per proc. SP backline can only provide more SP gauge, and not even the live show active SP gauge gain increase like Candy Ruby increases this because SP gauge gain only affects SP gain from taps, not from skills. So now let's assume we use only one single SP type and a single SP fill gives 23,625 voltage per proc. The skill VO Plus generates 42% of a card's appeal as voltage. This method of generating voltage is separate from tap voltage, thus bypassing the voltage cap. To generate 23,625 voltage from VO Plus skill, you need lots of buff. But to reach that at minimum, attribute bonus must be used, but just that is hard to achieve for many. We only have enough resources to max limit rate 2 VO Plus as mentioned. Often, we'll be playing off attribute. It is impossible to reach 23,625 voltage without attribute bonus using VO Plus skill. Even if you have attribute bonus, you still need even more buffs like accessories, backliners, insights, and bone board. That's just too much investment just to level up with SP fill. Reaching even higher than that relies on temporary buffs like during SP bonus time or appeal boosting tap skill or live show active and situational buffs like AC bonuses, song gimmicks, and SPL bonuses. This is VO plus peak performance versus SP base power. If we include SP backline, if we include SP peak performance, it is very certain that SP will outperform VO plus. To demonstrate the cap breaking skills of SP fillers, here are 2 different teams playing the song Stranger Romantic. One team is voltage type with 2 VO+, the other is SP type with 2 SP fillers. These two teams have similar effective appeal as to mimic the situation of hitting the voltage cap. From the result, SP team performs better than voltage team. Upon leveling out effective appeal, or more practically speaking, hitting the voltage cap, SP field is better at generating more voltage than VO+. This is the case for whales because even after the cap increase from chokers, they still hit the cap consistently as their cards are max limit break and they have all the boosts they can get, including attribute bonus for all 6 attributes. But not for most players. We can't reach voltage cap as easily as they do. From the example just now, the SP team used 2 fast cards, whereas the voltage team used no fast cards and 1 SR. Imagine if the voltage team uses 3 fast URs. No way the SP team can catch up in terms of effective appeal. And this is where the problem lies. Within the same limit break, SP fillers will almost never catch up to voltage type at effective appeal unless the SP filler is power creep or the voltage type is too weak. SP fillers have big trouble hitting cap consistently without attribute bonus. We brute force with the few members we have, so we rarely get to play on attribute. More buffs are needed when brute forcing to compensate for loss of attribute bonus, and voltage type tend to do better when brute forcing because they are appeal focused, and even just having voltage merit itself is an advantage over SP type when brute forcing. The cap breaking skill of SP is not enough to compensate for the loss of tap voltage from their low effective appeal if voltage cap is not reached. If you're not reaching tap voltage cap, you're also not reaching SP voltage cap too. The cap for SP voltage is 250k, much harder to reach than tap voltage cap. SP meta requires you to proc SP as many times as possible, and you really need to reach 250k SP voltage cap. We focus on voltage type at the beginning because they have better effective appeal naturally. And while we are doing so, just in case one day we maximum break those voltage type and reach voltage cap, we have to start overcoming the cap. This is where voltage plus scorers shine. It can provide us immediate strength with their high effective appeal, while also overcome cap in the future when we maximum break them. That's why voltage plus scorers are so powerful among new players. Hence they are the best option at the start when you focus on clearing every content in the game. Most SP fillers have crit sense, so you might argue, doesn't that make their effective appeal higher? How do they still lose to voltage type? Now let's look at a comparison. If you forgot how effective appeal is calculated, it calculates the time a card crits and when it does not. The time a card crits is its appeal multiplied by crit rate and multiplier. Crit multiplier starts at 1.5 and goes up by unlocking Bomb Void. By playing a decent amount, you can access 1.8 times crit multiplier easily, and that's the one I'll use here. The time when it doesn't crit is simply 100% minus crit rate, then multiplied by appeal. Add both numbers up and you get effective appeal. Take Fast Nozomi and Fast Chica as example. Nozomi's appeal is 11,066, multiplied by her crit rate 56.73% and 1.8 crit multiplier, plus her appeal multiplied by the time she doesn't crit, we get 16,088 effective appeal. Not bad. Chica's appeal is 13,370 times 32.13% times 1.8 plus 13,370 times 67.87%, we get 16,806. Crit sense that seemingly increases huge amount of effective appeal falls short when compared to cards with high base appeal from this example, as Chica's effective appeal is higher than Fast Nozomi's. You see how crit sense falls short compared to having high appeal, and that's ignoring their skill set. Voltage type has a more appeal focused skill set than SP type, so the difference in effective appeal becomes larger. But don't get me wrong, I'm not saying crit sense is trash. I'm saying that crit sense is only beneficial endgame when SP meta becomes dominant, because crit sense is the most reliable way of hitting cap endgame. If you're able to hit cap even on the crit sense card despite the lower effective appeal, crit sense will ensure voltage cap is hit consistently, and hence they are the better choice than voltage type. Finally, you need knowledge about your cards and songs in the game to understand SP timing. It is best not to try SP meta until you play for some time. As for what that knowledge is, well, that's for the next video. Before I end this video, here are some take-home message. Max Limit Break SP Filler is the endgame meta in advanced songs because it can overcome cap better than VO+. Before you copy top players and make a SP Filler team, you should know that SP Fillers only reach its full potential at Max Limit Break. The same SP team in Limit Break 0 versus Max Limit Break are like the heaven and earth. And even if you reach Max Limit Break, they are still very thirsty of buffs, especially when we are not playing on attribute. Before you get discouraged, SP meta is still something we can use with enough farming and knowledge. There's no way we can build 6 teams full of SP fillers, but we can do a hybrid team of voltage and SP type. And with buffs accessible after playing for some time, SP fillers can still perform decently well when brute forcing. Recently, power creeped SP fillers are emerging. These SP fillers are super powerful and F2P friendly because they have better stats and skill set. You don't need as many buffs to brute force with them. I will talk more about those SP fillers in the next video. But that's all for now. I hope you understand why a full SP filler team is not usable by new players. This is the first video of the SP meta series. If you enjoyed this video, do like, subscribe, ring the bell, pledge your support in Patreon, and join my Discord server. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next video. See you guys.